Here.
Here.
Do we have any conflict of interest statements?
No.
No.
Approval of the minutes of the meeting of December 19th, 2019.
Motion to defer the reading of December 19th minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item A, correspondence received from 5th District Councilman Dave Warple requesting $43,500 of gaming funds be allocated for funding design services for the Belmont Avenue 173rd to 171st Street and 170th from White Oak to Northcott Avenue for the 5th District Lighting Improvement Project with HWC Engineering. It has been signed by the councilman and by the mayor.
Well, then I will motion to approve the councilman's request.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item B, findings for property located at 1503 Myrtle Avenue submitted for approval. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where are we at on this one, gentlemen?
This was, well, at one time, we're not sure how many units total at one time, but it is now, since it's 3 units on the main level. We have permits that show that it was a storefront converted to residence, and that it was a storefront residence, and then the storefront was converted to residence. Now we have where it would be 2 units, we have 3. There's a central unit that we believe was constructed at some point, not to code, for whatever decade you want to apply that to. It does not meet code for fire separation, and some other issues that make it uninhabitable. I believe there was recent paperwork that you were going to bring in to show that otherwise.
Oh, I brought that paperwork in last time.
We had copies of some permits that were done some time ago.
Copies of that paper.
And I know, is this the property that when we were looking at, the zoning might not have been correct for current time? Or is that not this one?
It would not meet zoning now for a 3 unit. Okay, so when you only allow for 2. At whatever point this 3rd unit was constructed, or other units were removed, zoning wouldn't come into play because we were removing units. The inspections that have occurred, it's a very confusing file on several points. The inspection was done in 2013, I believe it was, and 2 units were marked uninhabitable in the basement. Those were removed. They cooperated with that. But then at that point, there was only registered as 4 units. So there is 3 upstairs and 2 downstairs, which would equal 5. 2 were marked uninhabitable. So we don't know where the 3rd unit came in on the main floor.
Can I say something? There was only 1 unit, the basement unit was 1, and then there's 3 on the main floor. So there was always a 4 unit. They came in and they took the basement away from us. Kim Nordoff took the basement away from us unit, so there was 3 left on the main floor, and that's where we stood.
And my point is that in our notes, it indicates that 2 units were marked uninhabitable.
And
No,
And that's the notes that we have that were entered into zone by Kim.
And that was in 2013?
Correct.
And in your notes, that indicates that it was 2 units in the basement that were removed?
There were 2 units that were marked uninhabitable. That's what it says.
Okay.
So now, what other unit was marked uninhabitable? That was, I don't know. I know one 2nd unit was marked uninhabitable.
But only the basement apartment or unit was removed.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Like those, at that time, I don't believe these were coming from the Board of Works at that time. That would have been done in
2013.
In either circumstance, we have a 3rd unit that does not meet code for fire separation and habitable space for, again, any decade you want to assign it to.
Was the last inspection done in 2013?
No, we just did the last inspection.
Well, prior to everything coming before
Yes.
us today.
As far as I know, yes.
And how did we get here today again? Can you remind me?
Tenant called the Board of Health, everybody. They didn't pay rent for 3 months, so we evicted them. So they got mad at us, so they called all the inspectors, everybody out there to look at our place. Now, that was just to look at the 1st unit. But
Okay.
then Mr. Kearney wanted to come and check the whole building, and he walked through the whole building and then found the other unit in the back. He said, just put up to increased value, another income coming in. But There was 3 units. Before the 70s, it was 3 units on the main floor. And all the piping and everything is the same underneath the apartments. You can come there and look and see that everything was all already there. It was all made at one time. All the apartments were made at the same time. And you can see that by the old pipes and stuff. And
Why did those tenants, why did they think to call or know to call to have somebody come check it? Did they know something was wrong there?
no,
I
they
want the
just,
judge.
they just get mad. Whenever we evict a person, they call all the departments because we're kicking them out, so they get mad at us. So they just try to find something so they don't have to pay us the 3 months they owe us for rent.
I want an eviction
So when we
court.
went to court, we won, but they just try to do that so they don't have to pay us the money that they owe us.
Excuse me, we won the eviction and then they called you.
Right. And that didn't have nothing to do with this apartment that Mr. Kearney's talking
Please come out and
about.
look at the property.
In 1940, we had a permit for store to apartment.
1940.
1935, the building had an asphalt roof. So as far back as our permits go, there's nothing to add additional units, including the basement.
So, but the basement's not in question today, right? I mean, that's already been remediated some point in 2013. We believe that's
Yeah, the
okay, you know, I mean,
basement.
obviously, it seems that it didn't come before this board in the past, but the point of the inspections department going through the entire building now is so that we don't have this problem of, oh, they were here a couple years ago, but they didn't look at this, and so it must be okay.
Oh, they did. They
Your
came
Honor,
through
Kim
with a fine.
Nordoff went through that with a fine tooth comb, told us to upgrade the service. We did everything
We
she
complied
asked.
with everything they
In the
wanted.
3 units that we're discussing
Yeah.
today,
Right.
do we have permits pulled for improvements on any of, or all of the 3 units that we're discussing today? Was there work done to all 3
Oh, yeah.
units?
Yeah, there was work
Just
done.
painting and,
We had to come to court for it. There should be court.
Court or before, like this room or before a judge?
I came to a room like this about 2010,
Okay.
I think it was.
It was over there?
So in 1940, we had the store to apartment. 1968, we had glass block windows and steel beam. 1996, we have a re-roof. 1999, we have a re-roof. 2001 siding, 2008 a reconnect, 2009 a reconnect, 2010 a reconnect. 2012 installed 2 doors, 2012 again installed 6 3/8 sheets of drywall, and 2015 reconnect.
Oh, the permit might.
And the inspectors told us we should get an upgrade in our electric, because we had the old stuff. So we got the new electric put in for 3 units, 3 meters. And inspectors went through it and everything was okay, and
I had 5 inspectors at one time.
The only electrical permits I have are for reconnects, which would be an individual unit reconnected, not the complete.
oh no, I had a
No.
complete pole put in on the building, a complete,
Kim Nordoff signed off
$10,000.
on that.
Permit hole?
yes.
Yeah.
Because it was done by a
I
contractor
mean,
from
they've got inspections listed for reconnects throughout these years, so I would assume if they're coming out to do a reconnect, they would have checked for the permit.
The electrical was Bob the builder or something they called him, or Bob the electrician. I had 5 or 6 inspectors come out there, go through the building with me at
What
one
year
time.
did you do the electric?
Electric was like,
2000 and,
10, was it?
We've got
There's
3
electrical
reconnects.
permits pulled at 8, 9, 10, but they're listed as reconnects. I'm just wondering if one of those was the total redo.
it was before that, I think. I think it was
Maybe
about
8.
13 years ago, when our grandson was born.
There's a 2008.
8.
Insures them.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Problem for their insurance company.
That was a total redo?
Total
Yeah.
Old,
redo.
like what the.
It was-
two-
New meters put in, new service pole put in, and a
New
bigger,
everything.
No, I agree.
a bigger,
And I'm just going to check right now.
Arturo, Art
Guzman did
the
it.
contractor for Hammond,
That you guys gave us
came
the
out
name.
and did it.
Just for a point of clarification, as far as how many inspectors have been there, and how many inspections have been done. I can go and do an inspection on a property today, and another inspector come in tomorrow and do that inspection, find something that I missed, or find something that he has inherent knowledge of that may be different in his inspection. He's gonna make note of it. If I don't make note of it, it doesn't mean that I said everything's okay. I did not notice or make note of something that.
We never had problems before until these tenants.
Does your insurance company that you use for this building,
State Farm.
do they have any concerns with how the
No.
building is set up at all?
No.
Have they been through the building?
Yes.
So currently, though, we have 3 units,
3 units.
so, and it's zoned for what, Kelly?
R1 unit, 2 units.
It's only zoned for 2 units. What is, other than the fire separation issues and the zoning, are there anything else that, are any other issues with the units that would take it out of compliance?
Some problems with the staircases leading to upstairs habitable space, very steep, would not be code. So the upstairs is a concern.
And
When
we're,
Kim Nordoff went through there, everything was fine. She went through there and told us to get our tickets, everything's fine, just rent it out. And we were fine for years until these tenants moved in and called. They do this for a living. They've done this to many other properties, I was told.
so ma'am, based on the notes that we have before us, and granted, they indicated this was kind of a tricky file, and it seems like it's changed status several times. So, I'm not doubting that you had somebody go through, and maybe they told you this because they were looking for one thing or another. But what the board has to do is to see whether or not it's up to code today, whether it's safe today.
Can we get a copy of our files through the courts? And I want to look at them too.
These ones?
Every copy,
Yeah.
every piece of paper that's in my file.
so what
Make
we-
a public records request upstairs to
Okay,
the law department.
cool. I'd like to look at these.
So what we're here today, though, as the board, is to make sure that it's safe for tenants to be there, that it's zoned properly, that there's fire separation, that all those things are there so that
Sure,
it's
I
not
agree.
posing a
Sure,
danger to
sure,
tenants
yeah.
in the
I'm
city.
okay with that.
And, it may have been that there was some issue in the past that got overlooked or whatever the case may be. It sounds like you guys are interested in trying to make this into compliance so that you can maintain the 3 units. Is
We
that
thought we
correct?
were in compliance until,
I understand. We're not suggesting that you guys think otherwise. Let me note that. We understand that you don't think that you were trying to pull one over on us here. But we're just really talking about the 1 unit in the building that may need some improvements as far as the fire separation would go, possibly something with the stairway. And as we mentioned last time, the zoning is something out of our control. That would be something done by the Board of the
I
Zoning
thought we were
Commissioners.
covered with a grandfather clause when they went through there, and everything was fine, the stairs were fine, the stairs weren't too steep before.
Kevin,
No,
can you
today
speak to
they're
that
too
for
steep.
us? I mean, truly, our records just look like it just switched uses too many different times, that sometimes that would,
I would like to review the file as well.
I think
to find
so.
out where we're at, because I mean, if they're saying that, I mean, I know that Kim Nordoff, obviously she did the inspections, a lot of the stuff was done over, I wouldn't mind getting the court file too,
yeah.
because I don't know where we're at. I need to find out like if they're saying they did a total redo on their electric and we're showing it as a reconnect, there's something that, it might just be in the permitting or what this, Kelly only has the printout, so we need to get I think all of us want to probably look at the entire file.
Time you check the files, there's no permit for upgrade or.
Okay, well, we definitely need to get these guys out there so they can look and see what's going on, as long as the homeowners don't have a problem with that.
No,
No, we're not.
So the board knows, when we do these inspections, there's certain codes that apply through the decades. And you used to have 9, 10-foot ceilings, 8-foot ceilings, current code is 7-foot minimums. So when we do these inspections, we understand that. I don't know when that other unit was put in, I don't know when the basement unit was put in, so we apply all of that, okay? 7-foot minimum ceilings height is the requirement now. If they want to say it was always like that, then at some point it would have been 8 foot. So we take that into consideration when we're asking for someone, a unit to be removed because of safety issues. We don't know what was put in, so we were trying to apply all that knowledge we've accumulated in making that determination. So, if it was built in 1930, it would have had an 8-foot ceiling. Would be quoted at the time.
I'm willing to comply with whatever we have to do to bring it up to code or whatever.
So do you need to get it back out there to inspect, or has that been done already?
That's been done already.
So really, I mean, we know,
They would like us to come back out and point out again what the situations are. I don't have a problem doing that at all.
can you guys come and see it, what he's talking about?
that's not typically what the board's gonna do, ma'am, but,
Nobody-
Trying to say that somebody slapped up a wall and made another unit, when you could see
My
that it's
father
the
lived
old
in there in
plaster
the
Paris
80s.
are the walls, and there's been
Everything's
no.
well, I don't think that they're saying that you put that up within the last couple of years or anything like that, okay? I think that what we're saying here is based upon the file, because it seems to have been before different boards or before different courts here, that trying to understand kind of the process of where this started and making sure that it's up to code and
What
it's
I
safe
don't
for today's
understand is we went
standards.
through Alan Krasinski, Mr. Callahan was in there, Kim Nordoff, we had every inspector from 96 in there. It was fine until Mr.
Never a case
Kearney
about
come in.
another unit. It was always a 3-unit on the main
So
floor,
I guess
always.
my question would be, on the second floor that we inspected, but the second floor is always in use for each unit.
Yeah,
Okay. Between the second unit and the third unit, when you go to the second floor, do you find it odd that there's just a door that opens in between each unit?
everything's odd in that place. It's old. Everything was done different. The people that owned it before us, I mean, like I said, we had all these inspectors through there. It was fine until this last tenant called.
So if everything's odd in that unit, it was built odd, it probably wasn't built with proper permits.
Well, then why now all of a sudden? I don't understand this. You got a permit from 1941? What else is missing out of the file that I don't know about or get to see?
A lot,
I mean-
whatever's not in our files, that's probably because it was never done properly with permits.
If we didn't have a permit, we wouldn't have a record.
Not
Well,
true, you don't
make
have
a
the
permit about
electrical.
the electric, and we did a
Yeah.
$10,000.
Do you guys have any records of your own?
I'm trying
that
to
we can-
locate them.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that'd be helpful. 'cause
I
if
mean,
you-
I can
if you
get
got records.
Art Guzman, the electric guy that did it, he's a
That'd be good.
Hammond.
He worked 3 weeks, 4
Contractor.
weeks in our house.
And what year was that?
2008?
No, I wouldn't either.
If you
It's
can
gonna be
locate
like a
that,
meeting
yeah,
for-
we don't have anything in our system as far as permits.
See, and then why did
Why,
we
why
get punished?
he pulled a permit? He gotta be.
They pulled the permit, they said, Guzman
He
Electric.
had a full permit, he's a contractor for Hammond Courts. He
Is there a
had-
way we can search for Guzman and see what he pulled? Is there a way we can search by contractor?
You know, if you didn't come in with a contract, yeah, we can go.
The
Zone
city
Pro-
told
Zone
us
Pro
who-
would have a list.
The city told us who to use.
We can pull from, based upon the contractor? We can or cannot?
She said, or Kelly said unless there's a contract, it goes under the address, right?
Correct.
So there's no, can we search like how many permits a certain contractor pulled every year?
In
I
2000, yeah.
could check with Kiki, see if she can pull
Because that'd be easy to see if Guzman pulled something from Myrtle, or
Okay.
he pulled
It
electric.
was Guzman for sure,
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Art Guzman.
and that was for electrical, is that correct?
Art Guzman was the electrician, and there was another one.
For the building.
I should call NIPSCO.
Yeah, they would,
Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep that.
Wouldn't you have records when we didn't have service for 3 months?
it would be under your name though, wouldn't
We
we?
got all 3
Yeah,
units
no, that's what I mean,
required
get
and
something.
everything.
So, I mean, I think we're gonna try to pull this stuff for you. I think we've got a couple issues before us. One is the public safety concern, right? So the fire separation, whether or not it was constructed this way in 1930, whatever, it still has to be safe for people at
It's
today's
cool, yeah.
standards. So those improvements are going to need to be done. The grandfather issue might come into play, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong here, as far as the zoning would go. If there's adequate evidence to support the fact that it was established as this multi-unit building at that time, they would be able to get a variance with the zoning to maintain the 3 units within this property?
They have to get it.
They would have to get a variance. So,
What's that?
That means like, that basically what that says is like, if it's supposed to be a single family and you have 3 units, you need to go to the zoning board and get a exception to it being a single
When
family.
my father bought the property, it listed 3 units.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it was a legal 3-unit. I mean, what you deal with a realtor doesn't have anything to do with the city. So we'd have to figure out whether it was a legal 3-unit when your father bought it. And that's just gonna take some research.
Because I know in 80, he lived in that apartment we're talking about now for like 9 years, and it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, you understand that just because he's living there
Yeah, no, I
doesn't mean it's.
understand that. But, you know, all
compliant.
these inspectors came out before, now all of a sudden, my whole building shut down, all 3 units.
No.
I understand, yep. We wanna get to the bottom of it too, for you.
How can we open the front of units?
are all 3 units, I mean,
Nobody's in the building since October.
are they able to rent out 2 of the 3 units while we're going through this process? Can we kind of single this down to the 1 unit to say that that one's, while we're trying to figure this out, that one needs to remain vacant, but the other 2 can be occupied? Or are we having concerns in general?
I thought of this, and I defer to Kevin as far as liability issue. If the center middle unit wasn't occupied, you have some degree of safety where you have that space that's not being occupied. Would it be a 1-hour fire separation that would be required by code? I mean, you'd have to dismantle it and see whether it was constructed to officially give that.
I mean, I'm sorry.
You know, if, it's determined that they can rent the 2 units and leave the center unit unoccupied, I'm not gonna fight that, but I think there is a liability issue there.
Nobody's been in that second unit for almost a year and a half now, because the last tenant that moved out, I just do the painting and the carpet. That's why it hasn't been rented.
I mean,
Well, we're
as far as
trying to,
just addressing that issue, I mean, nothing that we do here or on a city perspective is going to in any way, we're not like green tagging it or anything and saying there's no risk here. I mean, any risk of liability is on the homeowner, not on the city. And the city would be immune from this, right? We're not saying like, oh, because we're letting you rent out the other two, that somehow the city is liable for anything that would happen to your property. You're liable for any danger
Right, I'm
or,
fully insured.
Right.
or lack of code compliance or anything. That's gonna be on you. You
I've
understand
never
that?
got cited, nothing.
so, but I'm assuming, we're at a new point, so if they were to get a new tenant, they're gonna have to register it. So I don't want them coming before the board and us saying, oh, no, you can't register them. So, I mean, if we're comfortable allowing them to put somebody in the 2 units that aren't in question while we sort through the 3rd unit, issue here. If everybody,
It's up to Mr. Kearney regarding whether or not the inspections department wants to allow them to use those units without any, we're not making any determination as we sit here today on whether or not they're legal non-conforming, they're non-conforming, there's a danger, they're up to code, they're not up to code. I don't wanna make Mr. Kearney place in a position right here to say any of those things. But, I mean, if he wants to at least allow them to have those occupied pending further investigation and pending further code compliance, then, that's up to him.
And I would add that if that's something that you would contemplate, at least could he or Jaime or any of his people walk through the 2 units that might be available before you put tenants in them? Can they walk through them one more time just to make certain?
Yeah, we've been there.
We already did.
Okay.
We were there already. We were there when there was no one. I think you guys got rid of the last sentence.
I mean, I was under the assumption that the 2 units were still being utilized and the
No.
middle unit was not being utilized at all. I had no idea that all 3 of them were shut.
Currently, it was vacant, and when we inspected it, a couple months ago, it was vacant.
They deemed it uninhabitable, the whole building.
Okay.
I have no objection to going into inspection where we would be pulling off the face plates, establishing what's the materials built, made of, the walls are made of, pull out a face plate, see if it's drywall, see if it's plaster or not. That gives you some indication when it was built. It doesn't determine directly, but it would say, if this is plaster and lath, then it was probably original to the building or built in that time period with plaster and lath was kind of material. If it's drywall, it was added afterwards.
The whole building had those little
Post-war is when
slabs.
drywall started coming into use. So it was drywall, then it was post-war typically.
would you need to perform that inspection prior to allowing them to rent out the 2 units now? Would you like to do that first, or is that something that's gonna go towards the 3rd unit, the whole scenario here? We don't want them to put people in there if it's not safe, right?
They've been cooperative, and I know I don't want any more animosity, whatever. If they rent the 2 units, I'm not gonna argue that as long as there's not a liability to the city or to myself. So, I mean, if the board feels that that's something that we could accomplish, that they could do that and reasonably safe in allowing those 2 units to be occupied, I'm not gonna argue that, I'm not gonna contest it.
Would you folks be willing to have your insurance representative there as well, so they understand the 2 units being?
I could ask them,
would
they're
be-
in writing, sure.
Would be legitimate for them?
Sure, I would have them, yeah.
That's a great idea.
That way, obviously, Mr. Kearney's concern about liability may lessen that
Yeah,
anxiety.
they're the original
If they
ones that
say,
insured
hey,
the state
as
farm.
long as you guys do this and what the city's asking you going forward with this 3rd unit.
Can we do this right
obviously
away
this
instead of
middle
waiting a
unit or
couple
whatever it
weeks?
is.
I'll do it at the insurance inspector's meetings.
Well, let's expedite that inspection so that they can get those 2 units rented. We don't want to take away your livelihood here, obviously, but it seems like it's going to take us a little bit longer to figure out what the scenario was with the 3rd unit, what has to be done if we're going to try to work towards getting that back up to compliance. So, do we need to set a status? Are you guys able to accomplish that on your own? Take care of that inspection, and then we'll set this over for a few weeks so we can work on the 3rd unit in the meantime?
My suggestion would be for them to get to their insurance inspector. You can arrange with me to do the inspection, and I'll do it as early as convenience. And we'll set the meeting, get on the agenda for Thursday afterwards, that might be 10 days, depending on when the inspection's done. But I'll check it on the next available meeting.
I mean, I would much rather you folks talk to your insurance people before something. Jeff and I, we always expect the worst in things, that's just what he and I do.
Absolutely.
So it'd be better to be proactive and make them aware
let's get that set up. How long do we think it's gonna take, so we could set this over to discuss the third unit and try to pull some files from what seems like the court and possibly from permits from the contractor himself?
I'm sure this is gonna be Inspector Page's, goal in life, to get this, every piece of paperwork that we can. I believe we've already done that, I believe we have everything that we need, that we have available. We'll certainly get a copy for the Santucci's. Meanwhile, we're gonna dig into whatever else we have, whatever inspections, whatever, if they said it was in, I'm sorry, what year was the electric done?
I think 2008.
Can I get everything of the,
8, 9, and 10, it looks
We
like.
have reconnects on 8, 9, and 10.
Reconnects 3 times, yeah.
You gotta go upstairs.
I don't know if it was just coded wrong, or if that's just the information we have.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, three times, 8, 9, and 10.
Very characteristic to have a, upgrade or connecting replacement upgrade.
The court's like judge's record? Okay. They do or we do?
It had that old electricity, that tongue and tube, and that's what it used to have.
Oh, okay,
Tongue
I see what
groove?
you're saying.
I mean, not tongue
And-
groove, but knob and tube, knob and tube, yeah.
Can I,
All redone, the whole building.
let me also state to you guys, because it's different, different entity within the city, all the records that went through the court on this, which it seems like a good portion of this was heard before the judge as opposed to the Board of Works in the past, those go through the clerk's office. We don't have the authority to make copies or request copies for you, so you will have to go and fill out a form from them. They'll get it to you, but you have to request it from them in person. Okay? So if you stop downstairs on the first floor, they'll be able to help you with that today. We'll make sure that we get our requests in as well. Do we need to bring them back for a status on the 2 units, or just let's let you guys handle that with the inspections? So far as everything goes okay with their insurance inspector, we're gonna allow for them to rent those out while this 3rd unit issue is pending?
As board sees fit, again, I'm not gonna contest if we let them rent those 2 units out, and hopefully their inspector's ready to go. I mean, if he wants,
I never had to ask the insurance, I don't know how they go.
For whenever the inspector's ready to go.
Do we think 3 weeks is adequate to get us back here to discuss the 3rd unit, everyone?
And to give an update on the two, so I think that's appropriate.
Okay. So do you understand how we're gonna move forward here today? So we're gonna have you schedule the inspection with your insurance inspector at his convenience. We'll get them out there. If everything goes okay, we'll allow for those 2 units to be rented out, and we'll set a status for 3 weeks if that's convenient for you guys to come back and hopefully be able to make a determination on that 3rd unit and let you know how to proceed. What's the date on that one?
23rd, January 23rd.
Perfect.
Okay. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Oops, I almost put 19. Item C, order to rescind order to demolish for property located 18 Elizabeth Street, submitted for approval. Good morning.
Yes, the board may recall this was a property owned by Mr. Latko, and it was up for demolition. And then we gave him the opportunity to try to sell the property, which he did. And Mr. Luter has just advised us that pursuant to the rehab agreement with the new owners, it's been totally rehabbed, looks unbelievable. And so it's a good, good result by the board on this matter. So I'm happy to report that. And we would request that the motion to rescind and vacate the order to demolish be signed by the board.
I will motion to approve the order to rescind the order to demolish.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now, that's a way to cosmeticize an issue, is that not one?
There we go. Item D, correspondence received from Smith Saracek confirming continuation for legal representation as corporation counsel and by the mayor submitted for approval. Be maintaining the 2019 rates on this. It's been reviewed. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to approve the correspondence.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6, matters from board members.
What's this one here? Oh, you did that one already.
Did we do
You did that one.
Yeah, it's
This one here. There is one,
18 Elizabeth Street, right? No. 18 Elizabeth Street, we did that. There was the same thing? Do we have
tagged the
another?
wrong one.
These are the same. It's on there.
Okay, okay.
All right, no other matters?
I pull that back. No other
Okay.
matters here.
No.
Item 7, matters from other department heads or their representatives. Any new business? Any old business? Meeting is open to the public.
Nothing? Oh, motion to adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor? Aye.